Welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy, where warmth, wisdom, and community come together. Just like a good meal shared with loved ones, our podcast brings heartfelt conversations with incredible people who are making a difference.
We spotlight community leaders, change makers, and everyday heroes who uplift, encourage, and support those around them. Grab a cup of tea, pull up a chair, and join us as we share inspiring stories, real talk, and a whole lot of love. Because when we come together, we nourish more than just our bodies, we feed our souls. Hey, welcome everybody. It's Tracy from Tea and Cornbread. Hey, Sean.
Hey, and this is Sean from Tea and Cornbread, a conversation. Ooh,
Yes.
we are going to have a great conversation
We
today.
are. I'm excited.
Yes, and honored.
I feel, yeah.
Right?
For lack of better words, we are honored.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so you know how we do. Welcome to Tea and Cornbread. We are going to get started. You know what we do. We always breathe first. That brings us centered to the conversation and focus to the conversation. And so we have the Honorable Judge Maurice B. Mosley in the house. How you doing?
Fantastic. And I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're going to just let you know what we do. We start off with breathing, and what that does, it calms our nerves.
Yes, because we still get nervous.
Yes.
We are human.
And but it also brings us focused, brings us
Centered,
focused and centered to the conversation. And what we do is we deep breathe in our nose, and your belly should inflate. Keep your feet flat. Deep breathing in, and then we exhale. We hold it for 4, and we exhale out our mouth. And we're going to do that 3 times. You might feel a little dizzy if this is the first time you did it, but that's okay. That's bringing oxygen to the brain, and then it'll calm down. You'll also feel your heart rate calm down too. All right, let's do it. We're going to do it 3 times. When you exhale, your belly should go in, like you're going to the back of to your back. Inhale again. Exhale. One more time. Today I'm using eucalyptus, and Tracy is using lavender, and Judge Mosley has eucalyptus also. Eucalyptus opens up the lungs. It's great for the respiratory system. Allergies, if you're dealing with allergies, it's allergy season. Eucalyptus is great for that. Lavender also, because it's a natural antihistamine. So, all right. Now we're going to do our
Jesus is
Jesus
calling,
is calling,
really
our
quick.
devotional.
Yes. It reads, "Let me help you get through this day. There are many possible paths to travel between getting up in the morning and you're lying down at night. Stay alert to the many choices along the way. Be continually aware of my presence. You will get through this day one way or another. One way is to moan and to groan, stumbling along, shuffling your feet. This will get you to the end of the day eventually, but there's a better way. You can choose to walk with me along the path of peace, leaning on me as much as you need. There will be difficulties along the way, but you can face them confidently in my strength. Thank me for each moment you encounter and watch to see how I transform trials into blessings." Amen.
Amen.
Yes,
Powerful.
yes.
All right. So, listen, I am super, super, super excited
Super
to
excited.
have our guest today, one of my favorite cousins, the Honorable Maurice B. Mosley, was born in Waterbury, Connecticut. He graduated from Wash Elementary School and Crosby High School. Judge Mosley received his BS from the South Carolina State University, his MS from Central Connecticut State University, and his Juris Doctor from the University of Connecticut. He was the managing partner of the Mosley and Sinclair law firm for over 30 years and served as a Connecticut Superior Court judge for over 10 years. He has been the president of Granville Academy of Waterbury for over 33 years. Judge Mosley lives in Waterbury with his wife, Esther Mosley.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we are going to talk about his book,
Yes, we are.
Bishop Street to the Bench, An Improbable Journey. All right.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Out
to
your
get-
busy schedule to come sit with.
Yeah.
For you all, I'll do anything.
We
Thank
feel
you. We
honored.
appreciate that.
So is this your first interview about your book?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. This is the first interview. We have a
Nice.
series of others lined up, but
Oh,
this is the first
This is
one.
the first.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. Team
That's-
Cornbread.
yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Oh, well, we feel honored. I
Yes.
feel absolutely
Yes.
honored and excited about this book because it gave me more insight about you.
Oh my goodness.
You
So
know?
much information that
Yeah.
not even that I thought I knew, that I needed to know.
They didn't. Yes.
Sitting right here, you walk amongst people and you think he's a judge. And that's all I knew. You know what I mean? But this right here, easy read, people. Go pick up the book. And it's not only something that you read right now, this is something that you share with your children,
Right.
share with your grandchildren. There's a will, there's a way.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yes, definitely. Anything you want to say before we get started with our
No, you
Questions?
guys are in charge. Just let it roll. let it roll.
Yes. Did you want me to start or you want to start? Okay, we're gonna jump right into it. And definitely read the book from beginning to end, like I said. So we'll jump right into it. And one of my first questions is, what inspired the title Bishop Street to the Bench, and why now?
Okay, Bishop Street historically has been the most colorful street in Waterbury. You had churches, schools, bodegas, gambling joints, you name it, it was on Bishop Street. And that's where I was born. On Bishop Street, you had Bishop Street School, and across from Bishop Street School, there was a 8-family house, and there was an alley that ran between Bishop Street and Pearl Street. And back of the 8-family house was a 6-family house. That's where Amy Zion's parking lot is now. That's where I was born, in that 6-family house, a shotgun apartment. For those of you who do not know what a shotgun apartment is you can just open the door and you can look from the living room all the way straight
down
to
the
cold water flat. We only took a bath on Saturday night. We get ready for church on Sunday. Okay, and like I said, there was an alley that led from Bishop to Pearl Street, and talking with some friends of mine who lived in the area, like Jerry Poole, the Holmes, Bernie and Georgia. We lived in an area on the right side of us. There was a big lot that a white guy owned, and he owned a little tavern, and he put up a fence. There was a fence on our right side, and there was a fence on our left side. So our play area was like this. We didn't realize why those fences were there at that time, but now we kind of realize where it is. But we didn't have many material things, but we didn't have any TVs either. So you didn't know what was rich and poor, but we were rich. We were culturally rich in terms of the love, of the passion. And I was born on Bishop Street, and to get from the alley in Bishop Street to the bench, it was a Herculean journey. So that's why I wrote the title, named the title, Bishop Street, where I was born, to the bench. And I never saw any black judges. I thought you had to be white to be a judge. Okay, but with God and faith, anything's possible.
Right. Excellent. Bishop Street was that street. I remember as a little kid driving up that street. It was people from all ends
That's
of the
right.
street. Something was
right.
going on. I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
realize what it was,
Right.
but like you said, it
It
was
was going
popping.
on.
Not in the
Yeah.
same way it probably was for you, but
Right,
I
'cause
remember
we
being in
were-
the back seat of that car.
Yeah,
They're
it was
like,
popping. There's no question.
something. People were
question.
everywhere.
And we
yeah.
weren't allowed. We weren't allowed to walk up Bishop.
Right. That's what I said. We was in the back of the car, or well, probably in the front seat too. If there was no adults, not
We were
not
not
like
allowed
today.
to.
24 hours a day, that street
Something was going
jumping,
on.
You know,
Yeah.
bootleg liquor,
Yeah.
gambling joints.
That's why we weren't allowed.
Right.
Right.
And we had
Right.
we had
Right.
Pentecostal churches there and everything.
yeah.
I remember going right next door. There was a Pentecostal church, Reverend Jackson, and first it was a tent. And I remember going to these Pentecostal churches because we didn't have any entertainment, and we didn't have any TV. And I remember when I was like 4 or 5, sitting on my mother's lap, laying my head down, and playing with the tamarines at the church, while they were preaching. It was enjoyable.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
enjoyable.
yeah.
And some of those churches, I think, are still there.
yeah,
still
and
there.
they used to rock too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They rocked.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So that is so funny. The other thing is, okay, so you wrote the title, and then you asked why. Why?
Why I wrote the book?
No, yes. Why you wrote the book?
Basically, I started the book during COVID.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I think right near my granddaughter was born near there.
Around that time.
And I thought about when she gets to be older, she needs to know the journey. And as I was writing it, I kind of stopped. And I said, well, who wants to hear my story? About a year and a half ago, a professor from Yale asked me to come down and teach a couple of his classes. And I came down, and the classes were predominantly Black and Hispanic. And when I was telling them about the journey and the story, they were really excited, just bonkers. And I remember one young lady asked me, and this is a lesson for the viewers, our young viewers. One young lady in the class, she said, when she got accepted to Yale, her friends turned on her. And I told her, certain people you got to leave, okay? Because it's very common when you're moving up the ladder, okay? People get jealous of everything, okay? And this is for the viewers out there too, the young viewers. When you're doing something great, everybody's not going to appreciate you.
Right.
And I told her, you had to leave. And in short, the fact that they really ate up my story, I said, I got to finish this book, okay? So youngsters there's so many youngsters out there that, are not dreaming big. I heard a interview with the young lady who made Young, Gifted, and Black. She said there are millions of youngsters out there that are Black and brown, that are young, gifted, and Black, and they need to be inspired. So that's the why.
Okay. And when you look at, we're not going to jump to the end, but when you look at the testimonies, I'm so glad you had that in there.
Yeah.
The testimonies, and some of it brought memories back to, for myself. We'll get into that later.
What I liked about the book though too is Bishop Street itself. Like, you didn't forget where you came from,
Right.
and those people who were really influential in your life along the way. You touched on everybody, and I said, wow, what a memory you had. You know what I mean? Like, because I kind of sat back and I was thinking, if I had to write a book, I don't know how detailed you were, from people that you talked to, the school, just family members, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. This book is pretty dope.
I wanted to give them their due. First of all, I would not be where I am today without that foundation. First, God, and
Right.
then all the people that God put in my life.
Yeah.
Like most of us growing up at that time, our parents were restricted in terms of the occupations and the jobs, and most of our dads had to work 2 and 3 jobs.
Right.
So who was going to take care of us?
Right.
That's where the Q came in. Sam Craig.
Let's talk about what the Q is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Pearl Street
most folks don't
Community
know this.
House.
Listen to this.
Right.
Most folks don't know Q, Hopkins Street Center, Pearl Street Neighborhood House. And most folks don't know this. There was a marshal named Dom Giannetti. He died about 3 or 4 years ago. He came up to my chambers one day, and he had the Green Book. Okay? He had the Green Book. And the Green Book was a book that talked about safe places where when blacks are traveling, they can go. And Pearl Street Neighborhood House, the Q is in the Green Book. Okay.
They were also, the Pearl Street was also acknowledged at the Mattituck Museum.
Okay.
You know, of the history of and what they did.
I grew up at the Q. Why? I was the youngest. I have my brother. He was 4.5 years older, and I was the youngest, and I had to go with my mother everywhere she went. My mother taught cooking.
Yeah, you mentioned
one of her jobs. She had a couple jobs, but one of her jobs was teaching cooking at the Q. So I had to go with her every day. My aunt Vina ran the female part of the Q. My aunt Mamie. So I was there all the time, and we had these positive role models. Sam Craig, okay. I enjoy seeing his great granddaughter now. Ranye, is Ranye?
Ronnie. Okay.
Yeah, because she never met him.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I enjoy talking to her to tell her the influence, not just on my life, but on so many youngsters' life.
Yeah.
Okay, tough discipline too, and also. I was a pretty good basketball player, which you'll see. You'll see in the book. Most folks don't know, but I led the city and Valley in scoring, one of the top scorers in the state. But at the Q, not only basketball, baseball, all the sports. One sport I did not like. Boxing. Okay. I didn't like people hitting me in my face. Okay.
You did tennis too, you said.
Tennis. You name it. Tennis, and now I do golf, but because they taught you sports. But what was important, we used to have to stop basketball practice and go on the stage and sing certain songs to get ready for the father and son banquet. And they had a daughter and
mother and daughter
banquet. And I'll never forget one of the songs was, "Give me some men who are star-hearted men." Also, like Joshua fit the battle of Jericho and the walls came tumbling down. And so it was circumspect 360 in terms of what we got at the Q. Also, our late cousin, Beverly Manus, in terms of who is an aunt of Johanna Hayes, okay? She taught us tap dancing. In the book, there's a picture of 4 or 5 of us tap dancing, your cousins, okay? So and I didn't mind tap dancing. Some of the other boys may have thought it was a little feminine or what have you, but tap dancing was good.
And it was good for basketball.
Yeah, it was good for everything.
It was
dancing,
good for, coordination,
everything. So at the Q, you learn everything. That's why I like to say I was culturally rich. Growing up, not just me, but all of us
in the neighborhood.
And learning that, they also taught life skills.
Oh yeah, no question.
You guys learned life skills in conjunction with sports and things like that. Teamwork.
Right.
You also taught how to communicate with other people, and also how to be respectful. There were so many things, and when looking and reading this, it's like that's where it all comes from. Because Tracy and I always talk about how we grew up, and we grew up basically the same way you did. I think you guys had it better, in terms of community, in terms of everyone looked out for each other, and
I can tell you why we had it better. Let me mention 2 things. It was a triangle. Bishop Street, okay, and then the Q, and then the other part of the triangle was Grace
Grace
Baptist
Baptist.
Church.
Never even
Okay.
thought
Let's
about
talk
that
about
before.
that.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
That was just
Yeah.
so important. Grace Baptist Church taught you how to dress. The deacons and the preacher. I mean, talk about immaculate
Yes.
in dress.
Yes.
Okay. Also, um, public speaking is the number one fear that people have.
You're right.
Everybody has it.
Right.
But we had to speak at Christmas.
Mm.
Okay, I used to forget
It was
all my
always-
lines, and I remember B.J. Burke and
Yeah.
other folks be in the back hollering out the lines.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was Christmas. Also, Children's Day, Easter. So you got all
In the
this
Sunday school.
Yeah,
Yep.
you got. I'm
Yep.
saying.
Sunday school. Yeah.
You got all that practice. Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, they learned how to speak in Sunday school, in church, and so many role models. Okay, and also something else that's important, and it ties into how you start the program with the sense and everything. Sunday in our community, everybody went to Sunday school and church, and I had to wear a shirt and tie. We had to wear a shirt and tie all day on Sunday. Couldn't play any sports. All of us had to go up to grandmother's house and just sit and listen to our aunts and uncles. And this just wasn't our family, all the
All the
families.
families,
And
yeah.
you think about it, you need a day of rest.
You do.
Right.
We
Yeah.
couldn't play cards.
Yeah,
At my
nothing.
grandmother.
No
and
shopping,
Nana's,
no
we couldn't do any
washing,
of that
no
on Sunday.
nothing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything had to be done by Saturday evening. Even
Right.
the meal.
Yeah,
The meal was
no
cooked
question.
on Saturday.
Hey, at one time I cheated. It was a good friend of mine, named Butch Moore. He was a great athlete, great guy. Okay, I met him. He said we're going to the show to see these girls at the show on the Sunday. Okay, and I was living on Bishop Street. I may be 12, 13. Okay, so I went to the show. I could only stay in there for about 10 or 15 minutes. My conscience was bothering me so much. I had to leave.
Yeah.
I had to leave. But you think about it, you need a day of rest.
Yeah.
The purpose of the Sabbath is
Is
a
to rest.
day of rest, and you need to collect your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And I'm all during my life now on Sundays. I'm after
relax.
church at Sunday school. I go home.
Yeah.
You need that because if
relax.
you do 7 days a week like this, that's why you
You
when
burn
get
out.
Yeah.
Burn out.
And I mean, but society is,
It's
society,
moving and fast,
yeah.
and it kind of try to dictate to you that you got to be doing
You
this
have to.
and this
Sure.
is going
Even
on.
stores and things used to be closed on
Oh yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
Everything's
It has
Yeah.
they call them blue laws.
blue laws. Yeah.
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 You asked me one thing about the queue. I can't remember. I kind of deviated. I don't know if you remember. You were talking about the queue and something.
Just the no.
Oh no,
think
I
you
know. I
answered
know
it.
what it was. I know the thought I had. We grew up a little different,
Right.
and with the youngsters, and I
Right.
tell you why. When I grew up, all the black middle class lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Nobody
Pearl
moved
Street.
out. Everybody lived together.
Everybody lived in the neighborhood. The teachers when they got to be able to teach. Okay, they couldn't teach until the early 50s. Okay, but they lived on Pearl, Hawkins. Everybody lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so we saw these role models. Okay, but then when you all came along in the other generation, things opened up where people started moving out to
yeah.
the
In the
suburbs.
projects,
Yeah.
things like that. Not even
Right.
so much the suburbs, because where we moved to was Pearl Lake Road,
Yeah.
all on the other side of
Yeah,
town.
yeah,
But we were in the projects.
yeah.
You know,
We didn't even know they were the projects.
we didn't.
Though.
We,
Still
we
Still
it was a
today, we said we
cul-de-sac.
lived in a cul-de-sac.
Yes, we
Like-
lived in a cul-de-sac.
I gotta tell you something about the projects, right? Okay, we're living in a Bishop Street, 6-family house. There's so many folks live across the street on Bishop Street, and I'll never forget. I was like maybe 8 or 9, 10, and all my friends said, we're leaving you all. We're going to the suburbs. We're moving. Okay. I said, Mom, can't we? My mother said, No. My mother and her family were from the South. They own their own home. She said, when we leave here, we're going to own our own home.
Mhm.
Right.
You know where they were moving to? Berkeley.
Ah, nice.
But my
yeah.
mother had, because of her, the foresight from being down south, and down south people own their own homes. Her view was to own their own home, you know. But the main thing, when we grew up, all the black middle class, the preachers, everybody lived in the neighborhood. So you saw them, okay? I'll never forget, one of my mentors, I mentioned the book, Tom McKinney, when he came from the South, he and his wife joined a church downtown, I don't know, Episcopalian, whatever it is, downtown Waterbury. He said he felt guilty. I don't know whether he taught at Woodrow Wilson. I don't know whether one of the students told him or he just felt guilty. He transferred his membership to Amy Zion Church so he could be around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, because down south they were around, you know, during all that time down south, they were all the middle class because they couldn't move out
Right.
different places.
Right.
Okay.
They had to stay within themselves to be safe.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta mention something. It's kind of a little political. There was a proposal. It's talking about where people could live. Kevin Taylor of NISC, they had a proposal to build 63 single-family homes. Okay, you go out towards area. Before you get to area, and the Miracle Building's on the left, there's a big space. You know what I'm talking about now. You know what area? The area is the big club or going out East Mountain Way.
Oh, the Aria.
Aria, I call it Aria, Aria, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Prospect.
I still have that inner city brogue.
That's all right.
Okay,
Prospect.
You're going out that way, but before you get there, before you get to the medical buildings, on the left is a whole lot of land.
Yeah.
So Ness has a proposal, 63 single-family homes, okay, subsidies from the federal government. Do you know our city planning voted it down?
Oh, I believe that.
They voted it down, okay? And I'm talking to everybody I can. They need to talk to the mayor's office and everybody because our folks need affordable housing. There's single-family housing. And I know the rationale was not in my backyard, but those folks who voted it down need to understand history. And I know Carl was talking about history, but a little history lesson. Those folks, basically, the board was all white, and those folks that voted down probably do not remember their parents and grandparents in the 40s and 50s. Let me tell you how they got their homes. FHA, veterans benefits. Their parents and grandparents' homes was subsidized. Now they're gonna vote down, and everybody I know I'm talking about because those houses could have really helped Black, brown, and also whites.
Right. Well, the thing is, the misconception is only blacks and browns get subsidy. That's the
Right.
misconception.
You're exactly right.
You know, one of my
Good point.
girlfriends. Yeah, that's the misconception. One of my girlfriends is works for I won't say, but she works in that industry and knows for a fact that the percentage of people that are getting those types of loans are not us.
Oh, no question.
They're not us here in Connecticut alone.
Right.
You know, they're
But
not
that
us.
has been the history too. That's unfortunate, but
Right.
that goes back to us not knowing our history, not
Right.
doing our research on both sides.
Right.
You know, this is why
And-
this book is so important.
Right. And we have to scale back because that's another conversation. We
Yeah.
could really
Yeah,
go down the,
it really
down the
is.
rabbit hole with
Right.
that.
But people need to know.
But people need to know
it's not a good
absolutely.
look. It's not a good look for Waterbury to be against
Our
affordable
own.
housing.
Right. Exactly. It's not. So
When they come down, when those politicians come down and asking for votes, we need to put that in their
Right.
face.
We need to get involved, though.
Okay.
That's the problem. We don't get involved. And the only time we get involved is when it's too late. The decisions have been made.
and usually
We got to be at the
decisions
table.
are made without us knowing, too. You know, but like you said, we have to be
Yes,
at the
yes,
table.
we have to be
or
at the table.
You know,
Or be aware of what's
be
going
aware.
on, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and ask those questions blatantly
yeah.
when they come
Yeah. Right. Well,
Right.
to service.
Right.
Right.
I think it's important, and I was telling Kevin Taylor too.
Ooh, wee.
We have no affiliations in terms of party. We have interests. So whoever is in our interest, that's what we need to support.
Get on.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, get on
Has
board with
nothing to
them.
do with party.
Yes.
Right.
Whoever's
Yes.
in our interest and proved
That's right.
and showed
That's right.
not only when it's election time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that their record shows that
Yep.
they have been a part of the successes that are happening in the underserved community or the
Trying to fight for
the
it.
ignored. I call it the ignored, not
Right.
the underserved.
Right.
I call it the ignored community, you know, because it's ignored by systems.
Right.
It's systemically ignored. So that's
I,
okay.
we got a lot to cover in this book, and I got
Yeah,
one
we
more
do.
question before I'm gonna turn it over to Sean.
Good.
Because I just one more.
You're not turning
Like
it over.
talking
We
about-
both have questions.
Just kind of on the same realm of what we were just talking about, us not being aware, getting involved. Give us one example of an obstacle that you faced sitting on that bench.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
talk
can give you.
about
All my life I've been facing obstacles, but we've been trained first with God. Nothing is impossible, and you
That's
got to
right.
try things. But I give you one obstacle, or one situation. I didn't mind sending someone to detention for like a day or two to kind of straighten them up. Okay, because
Yep.
my feeling is you need to discipline them now before they get older and have to really go to jail for a long time. Okay, I didn't mind giving them for like a day or what have you if I thought they
you
needed.
did. Yep, you
Okay.
mentioned that too. Yeah.
Now I'll never forget. I gave one young lady a day. The head of detention talked to one of the chief judges, and I got a call saying, if you're gonna send somebody to detention, send them for at least a week because we didn't want to do the paperwork for one day.
Yep.
It was my courtroom. I did what I wanted to do in terms of
Right.
detention. I mean, the systems, not just judicial, but systems work for systems, not for people.
Nope.
you know.
Right.
It
And this is
work
why
for
it's
people.
important that there are people like you sitting in those positions because it's bad enough, they throw the book
Mhm.
at young people that say just stole a candy bar.
Mhm.
And they and the judge
Or
or
didn't.
whoever is bringing the arrested them just had a bad day, and so they want to use this kid as an example. And so the difference is you cared about the kids.
Oh, no
You
question.
cared
That's
about
how-
your position.
Like when I got appointed to be a judge, we had 15 of us, and we were supposed to do arraignments. That's when you first get arrested. Someone got sick, and he later died, and so they had an opening in juvenile. Guess they probably looked at my record. The fact that all my life I've been dealing with youngsters.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the last thing I wanted to do when I was growing up was work with youngsters, okay? I tell you why. My brother, my mother, my aunts, everybody was a school teacher. Everybody in the family was
I
school
was telling
teachers.
somebody that
And, everybody was school teachers. One reason because they couldn't, other things were like closed down to them. So everybody was school teachers. So I said, the last thing I want to do is teach school. But it reminded me of Jonah and the whale. You can run, but God will find you and put you where you're
And put
supposed to
you-
be.
Yep.
So I guess they found out I work with youngsters all the time. And one of the skills, I don't have many skills, but one of the skills I have is working
What?
with youngsters. I have a thing. I mean,
But
I have a thing with youngsters. Okay?
right.
Yeah.
But before you go there,
Go ahead.
when you talked about God, Jonah and the whale,
Right.
where God will put you where you belong,
Right.
you became a teacher so that you didn't have to go into
Oh, no question.
the military
No
because
question.
they were trying
Yeah,
to.
Could you imagine this? And I get kind of melancholy when I talk about college and the Orangeburg massacre. How, we wanted to integrate a bowling alley. And let me be clear: my mother had warned me about the South and what could happen. So I was scared to death. And when this situation happened, I was in my room under the bed. Okay, I just want to clear you. I was not out front.
So we're talking about the
I'm
Orangeburg,
glad-
the Orangeburg
I'm kind of
massacre
glad I wasn't out front because it
at
was
South Carolina University.
it was me now. Okay, I probably got killed. Okay, but I was scared to death under my bed. and the National Guards came on campus and wouldn't let us go to the bowling alley. And I think a National Guard guy got hit with a rock or something. They opened fire point blank on the students. It was horror. It was just horrible.
So let's be clear, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because there's people that think, oh, why do they keep talking about these things? You know, get over it. Here you are in your 70s that witnessed and was part of a massacre.
Yeah.
When this stuff was happening
Yeah.
in real life.
Right.
Not something that you read in a book.
No question.
Okay,
No
so
question.
this is why it's important that we tell the story.
It happened today.
That
George
happened,
Floyd.
that
I
happens
was going to
today.
say,
Yeah,
it's still happening
it's
in a
still
different
happening
format.
today.
Yes.
Today.
Right, and so this is why we're adamant about making sure that people know it, because you can sweep it under the rug and make it look like, no,
Right.
that's not really happening,
Right.
but it's still happening today. So I just want to say that because,
Oh, it's
yeah,
still happening.
it-
They read the news and they see what's
but
going
they still
on.
don't believe it. They think
I
it's
want you to
not in
put
their
yourself in my
backyard.
position. Okay, Orangeburg Massacre, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that was like in February 8th, 1968. And then a few months later, I'm
I was
graduating.
born a week later.
Yeah, yeah. A few weeks later, I'm graduating.
She was just a baby.
And I want to go to Emory Law School with my friends. Okay, and I get a letter from Uncle Sam talking about the draft
go.
in Vietnam War. I mean, you imagine Orangeburg Massacre, we get killed, and then they,
You want me to fight for you?
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I couldn't go to law school.
That was a
And fortunately, my brother was 4 years ahead of me. He was teaching school. He was pretty hip, and he said, "Smart white boys are not going to the service. Many of them, okay. Many of them are teaching school." And I was asking him, "How could I teach school with my major was business administration, accounting, and economics, which was a dynamic major. Okay, if I had to do all over again, major, even though I never worked in that field, it's just good to know how about stocks, bonds,
Yeah.
the way our financial system
Right,
works."
work.
Okay, I said, "How?" He explained that there was a program, a teacher certification program. You go and get certified, and so I know something else many people don't know. This is not in the book. They needed teachers, and my first assignment was Wendell Cross, almost totally white. You know, the faculty, the principal, and most of the students. I think the Rittenhouses were out there, you know, but you just only
Burma.
one or two students. And I never forget, a couple days before school opened, I had to go to a meeting. And I looked around. I'm the only black teacher. I was going to do that to stay out of the draft of the war. The day before school was going to open, there was a clamoring to reopen Bishop School. And they needed teachers. Bishop School, Bishop Street again.
Yeah.
I
Bishop
volunteered.
Stewart, you were going.
I'll go.
Yes.
That's where I came from.
I'll
Yeah,
go. I'll
yeah.
go. And I taught second grade at Bishop School. And could you imagine how I looked at age 22? You know, I looked very young. And I had a ball with the youngsters. Only problem I had, after we got through playing, and they wanted to do, we had to go do work. I said, work? They thought we just play all the time, you know. But it was a great experience. All the jobs I had, teaching school, all the jobs were of first impression, and I was not trained for.
But you were.
You know, your big picture, you're right. And also something else about teaching school and all these jobs, sometimes it's better not to have any
Experience.
experience
Or
that the
knowledge?
system. No, it's sometimes good not to have system experience.
Right. Right.
Because the system is not about elevating
Not
our
at all.
folks.
Right.
It's
You
about
know.
controlling you, making sure you do what they say
Right.
and how.
Right.
Right.
And one of the good things about teaching school at Bishop, they sent a master school teacher in to help me. and it happened to be Norton Dean, my first cousin.
Your cousin.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
she
You
came
see
in for
how
a whole
God
month.
aligns it up?
Yeah, she was a master teacher here, okay, and she came in to help me out. I really enjoyed teaching, but it's funny. I taught at Bishop, and then they closed it. The first year I was there, after the first year, they closed Bishop School again
Oh,
for so-called desegregation purposes. Okay, so I go up to Wilson. Yeah, I want to go where the tough inner city youngsters are. Okay, so I went up to Wilson to teach, and I enjoyed it. And I never forget Wilson. Yeah, a lot of boys that played basketball, but nobody wanted to coach them.
oh.
I'll coach them. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, and we had a great season. Webster beat us in the championship game. Part of it was my fault because being young, I had about 2 or 3 technical fouls as a coach. Okay, but I enjoyed.
You were
I
getting
can't even,
rowdy.
I can't
Yeah,
even
oh,
say it.
yeah, I
I
was
can't
like,
even say it.
I was like, I was
Passionate.
Yeah, passionate coach.
So,
But I taught, and at the end of that first year at Wilson, they closed Wilson.
yeah.
Everywhere I was going, they were closing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
desegregation
Making too much
purposes.
of an impact.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but they were closing the schools. I ended up at Walsh School for 2 years.
Okay.
And when I became 26, I studied the draft law very, very well. And when I became 26, you really were too old for the draft. So that's when I went back to law school.
To law
Knowledge.
school.
You got to have that knowledge. You know.
And strategy. Yeah, strategy. That's what that was. He's like, let me study this and make sure I don't get another letter.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
There's something else too about that. When I became 24, they changed the whole draft law,
Really?
and they went to what they call a lottery system. I'm watching TV. I came out number 4 to go.
What?
After all that.
But I had studied the draft law very well, and so I kept appealing, and I finally had a big hearing downtown, and I explained. I didn't think it would work, but I explained that a black man teaching in the inner city, my service here
More valuable.
more valuable,
Yeah.
and they bought it. I think one of the reasons why they bought it, the chairman of the draft board was a Dr. Wendell Erling. He has a son here now as a periodontist. He was the chairman of the draft board, his father. And I think he saw the value in me staying here and working with you. So I think all this is really ordained
Divine. It's
in God.
divine.
You know, 'cause-
It's divine.
I love
but
our
can you imagine
people.
me being across the water,
No.
killing people that look like me?
Listen, when I was when I was reading this, I said, did he go into the military? And it made me I said, I didn't know. And then, once we read it all, it's like, oh, okay.
But the sad part, so many black boys.
Well, that's why Muhammad Ali wouldn't.
Oh yeah.
And he kept saying, you killing me here.
Yeah.
And you want me to go over there and kill our people.
But the value of history, a lot of our youngsters didn't know history, so
Right.
they got drafted and went over.
Yeah.
And many folks from Waterbury got killed, and
Yeah.
post-traumatic stress, all that.
Yeah.
If you stop people now and ask them why we were there, nobody could tell
Nobody
you.
knows.
I have a good friend of mine named Charlie Henderson. He's in the book. He dropped out of the state, South Carolina State, when he was a sophomore. Ultimately got drafted. Okay, went over and he got post-traumatic stress. He has a position now that America really won that war. I said, what do you mean, Charlie? You go over there now, Kentucky Fried, McDonald's, Burger King, people take
All of us
vacations
over
over
there.
there. Capitalism won that
Capital.
war.
Oh,
Capitalism won that war, and a lot of folks were sacrificed
Right.
because
Yeah.
of that.
Right.
yeah.
So we're going to shift gears a little bit because we need to get into Granville, right? We need to go into Granville because, when reading this and how it was established, another divine intervention.
No question, because Granville would have never happened. I got involved in politics. I got so many different lives. Okay, I got involved in politics. Okay, I was state rep for like 10 years, and the state treasurer's position is the second powerful office in the state because it controls all the money, Wall Street, everything. Okay, so I decided to run for state treasurer, and I know at that time I lost at the convention, but that was God. Um, we are the clay, God's the potter.
Absolutely.
He makes you what
Yes.
you need to be.
Yes.
Okay, because if I would have been state treasurer, I would have never been involved in Granville and all
Granville.
that. You know, so I came back, and my law practice also started booming.
Yeah.
Okay, which is a lot better than being state treasurer. All right, and all these young folks were coming back from college. Stephen Douglas, Shauna Early, so many, Althea Marshall. I mean, they all were, and I started talking to them. I said, we need to do something. I mean, all these brain power.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to do something, okay? And one day we were going to visit my cousin, Norton Dean Cashy. That's the same young lady who mentored me in teaching school. She lived in Long Island. We were going on a boat to see she and her husband, Al Cashy. And I picked up the USA Today. I read this article, and a front page article where these young blacks dressed to the nine, females dressed, high school students going to college at night, learning about stocks, bonds, and all that. A light bulb went off. Like, boom. Okay. I got to find out more about this program. So my wife, Esther, and Sean, and Esther have been with me all the way through life, and I wouldn't be able to do anything without her. And Sean was maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 at the time. So we tracked down Bill Granville, who was the founder of the program, and they already had a curriculum. They had everything.
Everything.
And Bill said, well, it'll probably take you about a year and a half to put it together. But because of my political connections, I was on the board of Chamber of Commerce, all that. We put that together in 3 or 4 months, and the rest is history. They can read about the rest.
Right.
Okay?
So when you guys, was Waterbury the first sub-chapter?
First, the main chapter was in Trenton. And we were the after Trenton was us.
Yeah.
There's no question.
I was
And
thinking
also,
about
we did ours a little differently. Basically, nobody got paid. All volunteers.
Right.
Which is unheard of. How you gonna run a program?
Right. Well, I
People
mean,
are passionate and they
I was
believe
just
in
about
it,
to
though.
say, they
That's why-
believed
that's
in
what
it.
is.
Yeah.
That's why, but how many people do that?
Right.
You know,
I mean,
Right.
but for us, we
Yeah.
want to make sure. And then when we know that you're passionate and people trust you
Right.
with their children,
Right.
and their children are going to benefit from
Right.
this, and they're going to be exposed to
Right.
different things. Because when we go into the testimonies, the thread, the
Right.
common thread through all of it, we'll talk later.
Right.
But yeah, it's because that you first off had proof, and you did your research, and you showed that it can be done because you saw it, and you're like, we can do this too.
Right.
And you believed in Waterbury. You believed in our black and brown students. You believed in the kids, even though you didn't like to even deal with kids.
Right,
You were a
right,
teacher,
right,
right?
right.
And all of those
Right.
things. And when that happens, everybody jumps in. You know, everybody. And the good thing about this too with Granville is the parents were very involved, which is
that was the
unheard
key.
of
Let
now.
me mention something. My son always tells me. My son is Sean is my go-to
Sean Mosley,
person
yes.
about Granville and about everything. And he said when we first started, 90% of our effort was working with the kids, and 10% with the parents. Now 90% of the effort is working with the parents.
Right,
Just,
right.
yeah,
It's
you know,
turned
got a different
over.
type of
Yeah.
parent today. You know.
Yeah, there's a different type of parent. It's all systemic still. You know, it's all systemic still. But what I loved about Granville, I learned so much with this. I wasn't a student, but my children were students.
Both of them. Both of them.
Both of them, yep, they were students. And just because our family did all the things that you know, afforded for others too. Our family did that, where we were exposed to different types of opportunities that most people would look at. How did you know that? Or, with theater, with tennis, even just with tennis, but meeting people that look like you to say that it's possible to become a judge.
Right.
It's possible to become a doctor. It's possible to become, but we've all, like Black people have always been all of these things until desegregation.
Right.
Right?
Let me add something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's in the book or not, but we didn't have any TV, and the radio had one station. But every Wednesday, when I was growing up, my mother would go down to a bodega on Bishop Street, Brandolini's, and buy 3 black
Yeah, it's in here.
newspapers.
Mm-hmm. It's in here.
I won't say any more. I'll
Yep,
let them
yep.
read it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but seeing those newspapers and seeing black professionals, we can do this.
We can do this.
Right.
We can do this. And that's what I loved about when you decided to do Granville, is because one of the students talked about, he didn't even know the word college. And how do you go through school and not know the word college? You know what I mean? And now he's a manager of a bank. He's a manager of a bank.
You're right. And let me go back. My generation and the generation a little bit before, and he's in the book, Dr. Dougie Dean. Okay,
Yes.
his generation, Warren Henderson, Jim Herbert, Jerry Moore. That generation, he used to call him farmer. That generation. All those youngsters, if they were able to get through grammar school, they were sent to a high school called Leavenworth. That was like right across from right across from the police station.
Mhm.
Okay, to do work with their hands, machine work. Okay, Crosby was for college youngsters,
Mhm.
and Leavenworth. So all the black boys,
Yeah.
were structured for Leavenworth, and then after Leavenworth, Naugatuck, Chase Factory, Scobles. It was the system again.
Yeah, the system. Still today.
The
The
system.
system is still
And
to
many of
turn
those-
out workers.
Many of those, like Dr. Walter Dean, he's a doctor now. Virgil Franklin's a doctor. Many of them, Jim Herbert ended up being a doctor. They were brilliant, but the way the system worked, the system was set up for white girls, sitting down quietly in their seats. These young boys were extremely active. Only reason why I wasn't active, my mother would kill me, so I had to be. But our boys are active.
Yeah.
And you need to tailor the system to the students. Not
Right. Not
versa
that,
versa.
right.
Right.
Well, it's population control, but
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
okay. What I love also about, and Tracy, you can jump in, when you look at how Granville was established and here in Waterbury, I like that you guys thought about the little kids too. Like, okay, we have to start a little earlier, give them exposure and teaching them how to dress, how to be, you know what I mean? Because before uniforms in school, you were teaching these kids, you still have to present yourself in a certain way
Mhm.
so that, first off, people will take you seriously. And also, it gives yourself some pride. You know what I mean?
Makes you sit up a
It
little bit
makes you-
straighter.
yeah,
You feel
straighter 'cause
good when you look in the mirror,
Yeah. And teaching the younger ones, because that was what, 5th and 6th grade, I
Yeah,
think it was?
If I may, there's a fellow who grew up on Bishop Street with me. His name was Jerry Poole, okay, who lives in New Haven now. A brilliant young man. He was close to the president of Yale, and there's a concept called like mental maturity, and it starts early in terms of trying to get youngsters to become mature mentally. I forgot the exact term, and he said we need to start this with our young kids, have them dressed up, because a lot of youngsters now have trouble mentally.
Yeah. Well,
Okay?
they're not being guided like we were.
Right.
The parents are different.
Yep.
Now-
Here.
Oh, no question.
Here.
The parents are different.
down.
Yeah,
Here.
exactly.
Or turn on the
they
TV.
Turn
Here.
on the TV where this is controlling them. But at the same time, when we take control of our own children and also allowing the old, to guide us and also be
Having
able
those
to
conversations, talking about our history.
yeah,
Yeah.
letting the kids know that it's
Still coming to grandma's house or auntie's house if grandma's not here. You know what I mean? We did that.
We did it.
We
Yeah.
did that.
When we started the program for the young kids, the youngsters, it was the same night as the older youngsters.
Oh,
So-
right.
so
So
they
that they
could-
could
they could-
see.
they could see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So
And they-
important.
we got them with blazers.
Mhm.
Okay,
I saw
the
that,
Fellow,
yeah.
fellow used to run something called Socks and Tops downtown.
Yep, yep.
And we had cranberry, blazers and black pants. And these youngsters were sharp. They had so much pride.
Yeah.
Okay, and it went very like we had it for over 30-something years. It went
Yeah.
very well. We started getting pushback from parents. Well, my son got to go to basketball practice. He doesn't have time to put on this shirt and tie. I mean, we just started getting
Yeah.
pushback.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Granville is still in existence.
Oh yeah, basically what we do now is maybe once every 2 or 3 months
Okay.
have big affairs.
Okay.
A couple of reasons. There's so many other programs. Okay, Granville used to be every other week.
Yeah.
Or every 2 weeks. But there's so many other programs, plus our youngsters are into athletics, and there's nothing wrong with athletics, but you need to
Academics
prioritize.
need to
Yeah.
be
You need,
first.
prioritize, and to get youngsters to put out a shirt and tie, it's a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well, are you seeing, and because I saw in here too, where you're talking about like the low enrollment and the links are involved.
yeah.
We want to let's talk about the links also, right? Because I want people to get, even though, yes, get the book. I need you to get the book so that they can see the insides. But still, go into what, if you want your child to see differently or to to dream big, to dream bigger, to be able to be exposed to structure, because that's what it is too. They don't want their kids to have structure. They want kids to be free, right?
Yeah,
But
okay.
they're going to be free to do nothing,
Right,
right?
right.
Later. But talk about how the links got involved and who the links are. We want to have. We were supposed to have them on the podcast too. We're going to have them on the podcast because these are exceptional, extraordinary women.
No question.
They-
About 20
they-
years ago, 25 years ago, the Links partnership with us,
Right.
fabulous organization, doctors, lawyers, engineers. They brought a whole lot of structure to our program and did a great job and still doing
And they're still
great
doing it,
job.
right.
Still doing a great job. And let me kind of expand on this because there's a problem with a certain segment of our young men when it comes to giving black women their due, okay? And let's go back to the last election with Kamala Harris, okay? There's a certain amount, not a lot all, but a certain amount of black men, and I talked to some black men about sport, but I just don't feel her, okay? I mean, do you feel the current guy?
Right.
Okay? And not that just, let me go back further. About 4 or 5 years ago, Stacey Abrams ran for governor of Georgia, and a certain
love
amount
her.
of black men didn't vote for her,
Right.
okay? I grew up in the 60s. This is why history is so important. Shirley Chisholm ran for president,
Sure did.
and the Black Caucus didn't support her. Black women have taken care of us, have raised us, have done everything.
that's all they want them to do.
They read the checkbooks. I mean, they read
That's all they want them to
everything.
do, though.
Okay, and we don't want them to be in charge. Give them the credit. 300,000 in the last year.
Have been laid off.
300,000 black women with credentials,
With credentials.
have gotten laid off from the federal government, okay? Society is afraid of black women.
Yes.
And a certain amount of us have been brainwashed. Not all of us, but
Right.
brainwashed.
Right.
And so we got to get to our youngsters. Some
Early.
of those the older guys just have let them go.
Right.
We got to get to our middle school, high school, letting them know
Or
that
grammar school.
grammar school.
Because, I mean, I've seen little kids that disrespect their mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their mother goes, well, little Tommy, this,
Yeah, a little.
he doesn't like
needs to
this.
express
Yeah,
himself.
he doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's not how that. Yeah,
We got to teach the fact that we're so spread out now. When I'm talking about when I grew up, we were on Pearl Street, Bishop Street.
Right.
We only about
Nobody
3 or
lives
4
next door to
sections
each
of
other
town,
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we went to the queue, I'll never forget Sam Craig. One time, his nephew Dickie was acting up. Okay.
Quick.
They didn't play. I don't
Right.
care was it your child or wasn't your
Didn't
child
matter.
or it. I never forget one time I was teaching at Berkeley. I brought a boy home to the projects. Like this was here,
here.
and his mother. She passed a few years ago. His mother thanked me all her life.
because that made a difference, and it
Yeah.
made a difference with her son.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to do that. We have to rear these kids in a way where they understand and know that life can be possible in a way with no drama. Where you can learn and you could be who you want to be, because here's an example right here, born and raised right here. And what I love about your story also is you didn't move. You stayed here.
If it works, why change it?
Right. You stayed
If it
here.
works-
So many people are
Yeah.
jumping ship because they're discouraged about the trajectory of, their efforts. Like, just in even some of the things that I'm doing right now with, and people are like, yeah, but Sean, how long are you gonna? I said, until. I said,
Exactly
unless you, and it comes from my grandmother. My grandmother didn't go anywhere either. When I said to her, I said, Nan, I think I want to move down south. She said, for what?
Let me kind of summarize what we're talking about too. I used to say this in court when youngsters came in. I used to ask them, "Hey, what are the 2 most important days of your life?" And I'll give you one: when you were born, and they can never get the second one, when you find out your purpose.
Find your purpose.
You find
But a lot of people don't even know what that is.
Say.
I'll say you're right.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know what
There's
the
no
word
age
means
on that.
either, though.
Yeah. There's no age
there's
on that
no
because
age.
people are still trying to figure out their purpose.
Yeah. You talk to God.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
God didn't put us here and our youngsters here to be mediocre
For nothing.
or average.
Yeah.
Okay. He
Yeah.
didn't put us here to be average.
Yeah.
Okay. He put us here to be great.
Great.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And I love this energy because that's why God had me write the book. When you look at it, I mean, God has write this so we can get this message out to our
Young people.
youngsters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a story behind all this, and we're talking about the story in terms of how we grew up. Especially the Q. The Q was. I mean, I tell you something else about the Q. My last year in high school, right before the basketball season started, we were playing up at the Q, and in our neighborhood, basketball was rough. Okay, and even though I was the smallest, skinniest,
I can't even see you being rough.
I was, something. I was extremely rough. I didn't know it.
Right.
Okay, but you have to compete. Okay.
You have to.
And I was about to go in. I call winners. You go in.
Yep.
And this guy come running out. I
ball.
never saw him before. He come running out, grab me.
Stop
Said,
you.
"You can't play." I mean, what are you talking about? I can't play. You can't play. I said, "What? No, you cannot play." I'll tell you about it later. The fellow name was Ted Brown. I don't know if you remember his brother. His brother was Roscoe Lee Brown, the actor. Okay, his brother was the actor. You can look at that, Roscoe Lee Brown. But anyway, the reason why he stopped me, he didn't want me to get hurt. He was gonna get me a 4-year basketball scholarship because he was from down south. He had all these connections.
Oh, okay.
And he got me a basketball scholarship. Not just me, Linda Evans, who are not with us now, Robert Brown, got a whole lot of folks scholarships
Yeah.
at the Q. And that's just one of the stories about the Q and what it did for the whole community
Right.
center. It's I go on and on and on.
I know. I think we're going to have a part 2.
Absolutely.
I think we're definitely going to have a part 2 because there are points in here, subjects in here, people in here that we didn't touch upon. We,
And there's somebody coming behind us, so we.
Yeah.
definitely-
So do tell the
Part
people how they could get in touch with you. Talk about your book, where they can buy it.
Okay, a couple things. Because I have a erudite cousin by the name of Gene Coleman.
Yeah.
He told me I need to invest in 100 books and keep them in the back of my car. So one way to get them, if they see me driving, stop me, and
And
buy
you-
my book.
yeah,
Okay. Secondly, Amazon has it. The book's on 70 different platforms. I'm proud to say that when it came out, it was the #1 bestseller on the hot new releases for Amazon.
Nice, nice.
Congratulations.
So
Didn't know
I
that.
got thank God. Okay. And
Nice.
so Amazon has it, Barnes and Noble, there's 70 different platforms that have it. We're going to have a variety of book signings.
Okay.
You're on the
coming
book
up.
tour.
Yeah,
City book tour.
Yeah, we're doing a book tour, city
Okay.
book
City
tour.
book tour.
Oh.
The first one, let's see, we got one coming up at the Juice Bar downtown. Okay,
Nature's
that's on
Ombre.
Friday, the last Friday in the month. I think that's the 26th. Okay. Oh, next Saturday we'll be at Library Park, Juneteenth.
The Juneteenth.
Okay, and then the next week we'll be at the Juice Bar. That's Friday. Then we're going up to we're taking it to the suburbs. We're going to Verdi's with a V. Verdi's up at Western Hills Golf Course on
Okay.
Wednesday.
Okay.
I want you all to come, everybody to come, because I told owner of Verdi's, we're bringing our community up to kind of take over. July 8th, July 8th. That's the second Wednesday in the month, 5 to 7, up at Verdi's Restaurant, Western Hills. So we want everybody to come up.
All right.
And then we're having a big event at the museum, which will be the second Sunday, July 12th at 5. We're gonna have like a fireside chat, and then we're gonna have a young lady who was in our first class interview me. Then we're gonna have a student panel.
Okay.
Okay, and also tell your children we're having a Granville reunion.
Okay.
We're going up on the terrace at the museum, and everything is free. Food. I don't know who's paying for all this, but that's another thing. We took
Lessons.
college tours for like 30 years.
Yeah.
We had no money, but we got to. I mean,
You
Got
get
it
it done.
done.
yeah, we had
Get it
no.
done.
We
But
traveled-
people believed in it
Yeah.
and invested
Yeah.
in the children. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's not
Yeah.
about, you didn't have to have money. You had
Yeah.
investing
Yeah.
people that believed in what you were doing and how, and wanted these kids to be a part of it.
And now the chief state's attorney up in Hartford, Charmise Hodge, was an intern in my office. Okay, and now she's chief of state's attorney in
Look
Hartford.
at that. Look at that.
Jonathan Harding, Granville. Now he's corporation counsel up in Hartford. We
Look
got
at that.
doctors, lawyers, engineers. Because when they see
All in
things,
Yes.
yeah,
All
when they
in
see,
the
when
book.
they see things that they thought were impossible, that people that look like them, it tells them
Oh, it's
they,
possible.
they can do it too.
Absolutely.
I can go on.
Because everybody thinks Barack was the only one
Yeah.
that can prove that it's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
When no, these things have been happening behind the scenes for
years.
decades,
Right.
in
if we get
centuries.
if we get together, we can do.
yes,
Powerful.
yes. If we stay together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can't
That's
stay
what we
like
gotta do.
this. We got to get, like you
have
said,
to.
we got to do like that.
So, get your book, Bishop Street to the Bench, the Honorable Judge Maurice Mosley. Judge Maurice B. Mosley. Yes, get the book. If you have a grandchild, and this is for all children. It's not just for Black and brown children.
Over
This
the
is for all
it's
children.
501c3, so you have to cater to everybody.
Yes, but if you
Everybody.
have someone in your life that you want to steer in the right direction and show that it's possible, read this book so that you can see there are so many testimonies called legacies. I love it. Testimonies in this book from people that actually been through this program, from Amari Brantley,
right?
was one of the youngest, I believe, in it, that the testimony in here. From him to the oldest was like 60, almost 60 or something like that.
Okay.
In the book, that will give you actual accounts of how they benefited from Granville Academy. So yes, you are. Don't play around. Get your book. Come on the citywide tour.
Yes.
Come on the
Citywide tour. That's right.
citywide tour. We'll have all that information in the comments. If you have any questions for Judge, please, if you experienced him in any way, shape, or form, if you have been part of Granville and you may not be mentioned in the book because there was so many kids, if you were part of it, please share your story. Share your story. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, but share your story on your experience with Judge Mosley and his team of people, or the village.
His
If you were
village, yeah.
part of the village,
We had a
share
great
your
team.
story.
I want people to know it wasn't
Yes.
just me. We had a hundred, like you
Yeah.
and so many others.
Yeah.
So many others volunteers
Yeah.
that came
They
and helped
volunteered.
us. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you. We will have a part 2. We have no
Yes,
choice.
we have
no
to.
choice because there's so much that look, my book is marked up. So many things that we could bring to light and, share. And this is why Tea and Cornbread does what we do.
Yes, yes.
And we're gonna be in the streets at one of these book
Yes, we
signings.
definitely are. We
Amen.
gotta figure that
Yeah.
out.
All right.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And give us one thing that you want to impart on a parent and a child that may be looking at this episode.
Parent, I think as a parent, you got to give your youngsters a lot of love. Also, reading is just so important. This is for the parent and the child. Have your youngsters read because nowadays with social media, 10 seconds, that's all they're,
That's
it's
their
a
attention
shame.
span. Yeah.
So have them read. Leaders are readers and readers are leaders. So that's the parents and the youngsters. If it's one thing, my mother read all the time, and I just took up that habit, for watching her. Okay, and also take your youngsters to Sunday school and church too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Go.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, a good week. And Tracy, this was a good one.
It was
Another
a wonderful
good one for the book.
Yes.
All right. Have a good day. And we will see you next time. And remember, if you don't take care of your body, where you going to live?
Ah.
That was great.